Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an Archfey Warlock build guide for Baldur's Gate 3. So the Archfey is not the most popular, but I'm going to show you a build that can help you beat the game if you want to play as this. So the Archfey is interesting because it gets some spell bonuses that other classes just don't get. Now for our cantrips we obviously want Eldritch Blast. I think another good one to go with is Minor Illusion, because this can help you put enemies in a certain area, and then you can hit them with your Eldritch Blast. So Minor Illusion near a cliff, Eldritch Blast, Repelling Blast, send them off. That's one of the best early game damage options, so I'm going to go with that. Now, the Archfey gets itself the Fairy Fire, which I'm playing as a drow, so I get that as well, but this will last for 10 turns, and all targets within the light turn visible, and attack rolls against them have advantage. This is actually really useful in Act 2, so it can be really good. And then also, Sleep is honestly underrated. From levels 1 through 3, this can literally end fights for some encounters. So if you're fighting against the goblins, you can usually put 3 of them to sleep with this, which is a pretty good use of your action, and it doesn't require concentration. So it's sleep for 2 turns. It can really help turn the tide, especially if you're on harder difficulty. And then we have our Fey Presence here, which are class action, charm or frighten nearby foes with the Fey's beguiling, disturbing magics. So it's an action within 3 meters. You can frighten targets. Frightened is really good. So the Archfey there. As far as our spell slot selection goes, Fairy Fire can be pretty good. Armor of Agathis is another great choice because it's just the temporary health and cold damage on attackers is really good. I'm going to go with Hellish Rebuke, though, because the 2d10 of fire damage is pretty nice. If you don't have a reaction, you can use this to just give yourself a nice amount of damage there. And Fairy Fire is just useful concentration to have. So Hex can be okay. It adds an additional damage to your attacks, which is fine. It's not as useful as some people think it is. As for our ability scores, this is where it's a little interesting because we want ourselves to have a good amount of Constitution, and we want to have a good amount of dexterity too. So something like this, we can take our... If you're the face of the... Or if this is your Tav, you can take 17 and then use the Hags here to increase that to 18. If you're not, you can put it to 16 and then we'll go at it as we get through the levels. But something like this looks good. Intelligence is going to be a moderately important skill for us. So that's what we're going to go with there. And the Warlock regains their spell slots on short rest, so I'll be going over some good ways to help out with that. Now at level 2, we get our Eldritch Invocations. So for this, Agonizing Blast and Repelling Blast are the 2 best. So when you cast Eldritch Blast, add your Charisma modifier to the damage it deals. So right now it's +3, but eventually it'll be a +6. And then Repelling Blast, when you hit a creature with Eldritch Blast, you can push the creature up to 4.5 meters away from you. So this can knock them off of cliffs or off of rooftops. And it's just incredible damage early on. This is like one of the best early game damage options with Repelling Blast and Agonizing Blast. And then for our next spell slot selection, Hex is good. It's not amazing, but you can Hex someone, and then that's an additional 3d6 damage. Let's say you use Eldritch Blast at level 10. You get 3 beams, and this will all proc on Hex. So it can be pretty decent, but not as good as some people think. And yeah, it does use a bonus action. It gives it a disadvantage on ability if you're choosing, but it's only really useful on like Wisdom, as Wisdom's going to help out with your stealth. So if you have a rogue, you can Hex them for Wisdom to get them a bit of a boost in terms of their stealth. But yeah, we're also using an outfit here that's going to give us our Charisma modifier to our cantrips, so that can make our Eldritch Blast really powerful. Now at level 2, we get ourselves some great spells. I think Hold Person is one of the most useful here, as it holds enemies still. They can't attack, move, or react, and attacks within 3 meters are always critical hits. That's really good. And for our Pact boon, some people like Pact of the Tomb, which this is going to give us Guidance, Vicious Mockery, and Thorn Whip. It also gives us Call Lightning and Haste later on. This is good if you want to be more of a caster lock, but we're going to go Pact of the Blade. The reason being, this is actually a pretty good option. So we can bind our pack weapon. It binds your main hand weapon, and you become proficient with it if you weren't already. And then we use Charisma as our spellcasting modifier, or our attack rolls for that. So instead of using Dexterity or Strength, we're going to be much more likely to hit. And then we get 2 attacks with it. I think this is actually really strong. Pact of the Chain is okay, but we can get a Quasite from getting Shovel. So Shovel is a great use of a Quasite, so this is kind of obsolete by that. And Pact of the Tomb is good if you want to be focusing more on spell casting. Guidance is a decent cantrip, but I do think Pact of the Blade has higher damage from my testing on this, so we're going to go with that, because you can hold Purse and then go in and attack in physical range. Now for our cantrip, I think Mage Hand or Bone Chill is great. Mage Hand lets you throw like water bottles to set up your Storm Sorcerer. Bone Chill prevents healing, which is incredible. And we're going to be in more melee range as a Warlock, so we're going to go with that one there. As for our spells, Misty Step for the mobility is huge. Mirror Image to give a +9 to armor class is really nice, and it reduces every time you get hit. But I think Darkness is probably the best spell that we got as a Warlock. Cloud of Daggers can be decent early game damage to its slashing damage, which is nice, but Darkness is pretty big for this build. So we're going to go with Darkness, because Darkness does a lot for us, and we can see in the dark at next level. So for our level 4 feat, I think Charisma Increase is just the best option there. Now here we get our Eldritch Invocation, as I mentioned. Now we also get level 3 spells, and this is where we get some interesting ones. Vampiric Touch will give us the ability to regain health points, which is good, as we're going to be in melee range often. Hunger of Hadar is the Warlock spell that I think of the most. So this deals 2d6 cold and acid damage. Creatures within this sphere are blinded and take damage at the end of their turn and at the start of their turn. Hunger of Hadar is fantastic, so we're going to take that there. And for our Eldritch Invocation, Devil's Sight, to allow us to see in darkness both magical and non-magical. So when we cast darkness, we can be the only ones that can see through it, because this is the only way to get magical dark vision. So pretty good. And then we also get our race trait. I play as a drow, so you get yourself the free cast of darkness there. So we really want to be using darkness to our advantage. At level 6, we get our Misty Escape. Upon taking damage, become invisible. On your next turn, cast Misty Step, although this will break your invisibility. So this just helps out with overall survivability, and we get ourselves another spell here. Counterspell can be okay, but I don't think that the Warlock gets enough spell slots to be able to use this and make it worthwhile. You should have this on a Sorcerer or a Wizard. Fear is actually a really good spell. Targets drop everything, become fearful. So they drop their weapons, then you can pick it up. This makes them pretty much useless. So I really like Fear, but you can also go with Plant Growth. This does not require concentration, and it'll quarter movement speed. So what you can do is you can set up your Hunger of Hadar, which is going to blind people, and then put Plant Growth down on it. They can't move at that point. So that gets really good. So we get ourselves that free Misty Step there, which is quite nice. At level 7, we get ourselves a level 4 spells, and while our options aren't as widespread as some other classes, we do get some decent ones like Blight, which deals necrotic damage. Plants take maximum damage from the spell and have disadvantage on saving throw against it. There's not a lot of plants that we'll be fighting, so it's not the best, but Dimension Door can help you move yourself and an ally around the battlefield, which is actually quite a nice option. Dominate Beast allows you to make a beast fight alongside you. That can be good, but I think there's better spells. Greater Invisibility. You can only get this as the Archfey, I'm pretty sure. Turn a creature invisible, attacks with it have disadvantage, it attacks with advantage, and you have dexterity saving throws to hold that. So we can take this and then put it on like a rogue or a fighter that's dexterity focused, and it can actually be very effective. And then for Eldritch Invocation, there's a few nice ones. So Confusion with a Warlock spell slot's really good, because Confusion is just an underrated crowd control. It's like Fireball for shutting people down for 3 turns, which is really nice. Slow is okay too, but I think that the best option is to go with like the Confusion there. Armor of Shadows can be good too. I think that the best option, though, is the Book of Secrets, because it gives you Chromatic Orb, which is a nice spell just to have. Silence, too, and then Ray of Sickness, which is meh. But, yeah, Dreadful Word. We'll go Dreadful Word, because this gives us the free cast of Confusion, which is really, really good. People don't underestimate how good that spell is. It's really underrated. We get ourselves another leveled spell here. We can also take a level 4 spell. I think Vampiric Touch is actually not a bad one to take to regain health. We're going to be in melee range often, so that's a good one. Mirror Image can be good too for the increased armor class. As for our feat, we're taking that Charisma all the way up to 20. I think that's just the best option there. And at level 9, we can take Hold Monster, which is really, really good. This can make some late game boss fights trivialized, because you can hold the creature in place, and then you can attack it too with the Pact of the Blade, because we get the double attack. I missed it at level 5, but this is really good. I think that for our next Eldritch Invocation, that Minions of Chaos is actually really good. So Conjure Elemental for free, level 5 spell. That's awesome. Speak of the Dead is okay. Like, some of these other options are okay, but I do think that the Minions of Chaos is just fantastic. So Conjure Elemental with a Warlock spell slot, so we can call in some pretty useful teammates. I'll get into that in a moment. And then for level 10, we get the Beguiling defenses, so you cannot be charmed, which is nice. Just a free ability there. Mage Hand or Friends. Friends you should take up your face of the party, but we'll take Mage Hand there. And then another level 5 spell slot. Dominate Person is pretty good to make a humanoid fight alongside you, and they have to make a wisdom saving throw to prevent domination. So some targets have really low wisdom, and it'll actually help out a lot and use that spell to its greatest advantage. Seeming can be okay too to disguise your party, but I think Dominate Person's best. And that's that for level 10. At level 11, we'll get ourselves our final leveled spell. So we get our gain a Warlock spell slot. And we also get the Mystic Arcanum. So select one of your level 6 spells. Once per long rest, you can cast that without expending a spell slot. So Circle of Death is, I think, my favorite of these. But Eye Bite is also nice. Create Undead is really good too. Although there is a ring that can allow you to cast that for free. Create Undead is really good though. But I think Circle of Death is the best option here. And the reason being, I'll get into it, but this is a level 6 Necromancy spell. It hits in an area of effect for up to 48 damage necrotic. There's some gear that really synergizes with that. But Eye Bite is another good option too. And for our next spell that we can choose, I think that maybe a Mirror Image for increased armor class, 49 increased armor class is really nice. Now level 12, this gives us the final choice in our spells. We also get another Eldritch Invocation. We can go with our Life Drinker here. So your melee attacks deal additional necrotic damage equal to your Charisma modifier. So a nice +5 necrotic damage from our Life Drinker there. And for our final spell slot, it's tough because we already got most of the ones that we want to go with. But Armor of Agathis is really good, and Misty Step is another option, even though we get it for free. I think Armor of Agathis is the way to go there. And then for our final feat, this is where things get a little bit interesting. Alert allows us to move first, so the +5 initiative is awesome. I also like Warcaster to maintain concentration on spells, so it gives you advantage, and then you can cast Shock and Grasp as a reaction. Spell Sniper can help out with if you were more so focused on Eldritch Blasting, but I don't think for the purpose of this, that's the best option here. We could also, if you don't want Life Drinker, we can add in a level of the War Cleric to give us a bonus action attack. So if you don't want Life Drinker, which is kind of a nice thing to have, we can add in one level of War Cleric. So what that looks like is taking the Warwick domain, and that gives us a bonus. So we can use a bonus action to make an attack 3 times per long rest. That actually is pretty good damage output if we don't have another option for it. And then it allows us to take like a Healing Word to help pick up downed allies. But I'm going to go, for the purpose of this build, we're just going to stick with the full 12 in Warlock, because I don't see any builds that do 12 levels of the Archfey, so we'll take that Armor of Agathis, Life Drinker, and then for our feat, you'd even go Dual Wielder if you wanted to give yourself another attack and a +1 armor class, but I wanted to use the shield for this. Yeah, there's actually a few options that are pretty decent here. We can get 2 ritual spells for free, which can be nice. Give yourself Long Strider. Sentinel is always a pretty decent one to make a reaction attack, as we do focus a little bit on our weapon attacks alongside our spell casting. But I really like Alert. Alert's just friggin' amazing for what it does. It gives you a +5 to initiative and can't be surprised, which can help a lot. So we're going to go with that because the increased initiative is just huge. Now, for our general, I guess we'd want to have our bind Pact weapon, so we can bind the weapon that we're using. This already has the sword that I'm using, kind of a cop-out here, because we have the using your charisma as your spellcasting modifier anyways. But what I also like about this that benefits us is the ability to call in the Cambion from this. So this gives us a free little fella here that kind of fits alongside the Warlock's theme well. And they get some pretty nice attacks with Rays of Fire, Rush Attack, and Fiendish Charm. So that's pretty good there. But we also get that free cast of Conjure Elemental. So that's awesome. We can use it. I like the Water Elemental or the Earth Elemental. The Earth Elemental can knock creatures prone, so that's a nice call in there. The Create Undead Ring, so Crypt Lord Ring, can give us a free level 6 Necromancy spell to summon in another teammate there. For our armor class, we have an armor class of 19, which is not fantastic, but We have the Daredevil gloves there to give +1 to spell attack rolls, and we can cast our range. This is good early on in the game, so it allows us to do our ranged spells as melee rolls, which just helps out with attack rolls there. But we can alternatively go gloves of dexterity. Takes the armor class up to 21, and then if we are using our mirror image, this can take our armor class up to 30. So that's not too bad. Just an extra increased armor class, always something that we like. The Birthright hat will give us that +6 to our charisma, so our life drinker will be dealing extra damage there, which is awesome. Cloak protection, evasive shoes, and armor ring give us +1 to saving throws and +1 to armor class. Gloves dexterity. The potent robe, so your cantrips deal additional damage equal to charisma modifier, so this also gives us a +1 armor class and gives us temporary health points equal to our charisma modifier. So this is pretty good because that gives us extra damage on our eldritch blasts, and that's really nice. So you could hex someone. We can use our hex on a target, and then after you hex them, hit them with 3 eldritch blasts for extra damage. But we also have this Circle of Death, which is really nice, and that's where I was talking about using a different weapon. So we could alternatively put on the Staff of Cherished Necromancy. I am not finding... There it is. So what does this do? I guess we can't equip it. I might be over encumbered. That might be why. So send to camp. Try that again. And the Staff of Cherished Necromancy allows us to continually cast... Actually, I guess we don't have quarterstaff proficiencies. We can't equip that, but I guess we'll be mostly focusing on Life Drinker there. But that would give us the ability to continually cast Circle of Death. I do think that this weapon, I guess this weapon here won't let me switch it because I have this guy out. But the nice thing about this is we get ourselves a free summon and the ability to use Charisma, which is our main stat. So we can have these 2 summons out. We have our Create Undead. The main focus of this build is to use our crowd control and then get in close to attack them. So Hold Monster and Hold Person being fantastic spells overall. And then we also have our Vampiric Touch to give ourselves some health points back too if we want. Overall, the Archfey, it's not the best Warlock, but it's still a pretty decent one. The Warlock's a good class. We get our spell slots back on short rest, so that's awesome. But we only get 5 spell slots, so... not the best, but we do focus on Eldritch Blast a lot. So yeah, that is the Archfey Warlock build guide from Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video fun or useful, please hit that subscribe button below, and I'll see you all in the next video.